Welcome everyone to today's presentation of Studio Live. I'm Debbie Green. I'll be your presenter today. We're going to be talking about best practices for using your computer. And then after we get finished with that, we're going to talk or open it up and you can ask any questions you have about computers or about Studio, either one. I happen to be on Studio Online right now. I'm in my Studio Online account. So all the things that we're going to be showing, I'll tell you if it's different for Studio Online or a Mac or a PC. So we're going to cover all those things, but 80% of the, or maybe 90% of what we're going to talk about computers today will apply no matter what you're using, whether you're using Studio Online, whether you're using a PC, or whether you're using a Mac. So let's open Studio. The first thing I want to talk about is proper naming of files. But I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick that I want to make sure you guys know in Studio. So I'm going to go to Elevations. I'm going to drop down to number 8, Cornices. Slide my mouse over for those of you that are new. And drag down. Oh, whoops, I did not click on what I wanted. I thought I clicked Cornices. I did, but I didn't click the subcategory. So I will drag all the way down to the bottom. We had a question about this the other day, so I thought it was a good question, and I thought it might be helpful to use someday. So first of all, the question that we received in the office was they just wanted this wrought iron piece in the cornice. They didn't want they only wanted one of these, and there happens to be 3. Now, if you notice, I'll just cover this too briefly. In the cornice section, there's single, wide single, double, and triple. So these are based on window sizes. Like the triple would have more of these, many more of those. Most all of them are in each of the categories. So first of all, let's go ahead and delete the draperies, and I'm going to use the sub-select feature. The sub-select, the first time you click, it selects the group of groups, and there's a group of draperies, there's a group of these 3 wrought iron pieces, there's a group of the cornice with all that, the top of the molding and the bottom molding. So first of all, we're going to use the sub-select. So all you have to do to enable the sub-select is click one more time. And when you click one more time after it's selected, not right-click, because that brings up the perspective or skew. So now I'm going to hit the delete key, do the same thing over here. Second time I hit it, the sub-select is enabled. Now I will need to, so I can get down to this because this is a group of groups again, I will need to right-click and ungroup this. So click away. And I think I have to ungroup one more time because I need to see the pink. So when I see the pink, I know that it is ungrouped. Now I'm going to click my zoom within rectangle. That's one of our favorite features. And I'm going to zoom right in. Because these wrought iron pieces are small, I need to make sure I'm clicking not on the background. I need to click right on the image. Sometimes we call that clicking on air too. So I'm going to click once again to sub-select because I've ungrouped everything. So now I'm going to hit delete. I'll come over here. Notice there's 2 selected. I'm going to click again and delete. Now zoom back out to fit page, and there we go. You could stretch that out to make the cornice bigger and keep this the same size in the center, so it could be on a triple window, it could be on any size. Most of our images you can break apart. That's the beauty of our the feature that we added, the break apart, when we did the 3.0, and that's been many, many moons ago. But just in case you think that you're stuck with one design, remember, you can break it apart and mix and match and make anything you want. And then, of course, if you think you're going to use it again, be sure to save it to your custom tab. I'm going to show this very briefly. So say that you just want to call this your, put it under favorites, and I'll do not bestsellers. We'll call it a bestseller. All you would do, you can, if you had a lot of images on here, you could press Control A. But since we don't, I'm just going to highlight it really quick by lassoing it. You just start up here with your mouse and draw quick and let go. And now I will press Control G to group it. Now it's one image. There's no pink showing. And I right-click and I say, I click copy or select copy. Then I come over to the index, and I've already determined I want to put it in the custom tab, which is this. And I want to put it in favorites and bestsellers. So now I'm going to right-click, paste, and there is my cornice. And I click one more time, and then I can title it. You could title it whatever you want. And because that's part of what we're going into today, naming. So many people just take they think they don't want to take any time. They don't want to take 1 or 2 more seconds to name things. You start naming things properly and saving things properly, you will make your life so much easier. We see so many people, and if I'm doing a meeting with them, and I don't even remember your name, so don't worry about that, but we see a lot of people that just have 2 or 3 letters for a name, and it's hard to remember what you've named things if you don't have a naming convention. And so what I'm saying is use a system to name your files and make sure you save them correctly. That would apply over here as well. If it's a cornice, you would name that cornice with wrought iron maybe. And don't put slashes because that's inside this filing inside Studio. So be careful. It might tell you you can't use that type of character, a /, but you could type it out. So let's say that we want to, and I go ahead and delete, and it's easy to delete them if you don't want it anymore. Just right-click, and you see your options. Right-click, remember, takes you to a whole new world. Always look at your right-click and see what options are available. That applies to PC people and Mac people. Now, we've got this, we've got Studio right here, and you can see it says MM Studio 1. Well, if you keep working here and you haven't saved this, the first thing you should do when you open the file is you can press Control-S, or you can come to the Raspberry and press Save. And notice it says Save As, but we're just in the Save. It's saving as. But you would only use the Save As feature or use that selection when you go to the Raspberry if you want to duplicate a file you've already created and use it for someone else. So let's go to Libraries. I could go to my desktop because you all have a shortcut to your client folder. I have a shortcut to a client folder, but it's in Dropbox, so I'm going to take you to Libraries. There's multiple ways to get to your My Studio Designs folder. Let's double-click on Documents. Here's My Studio Designs. I'll go in here. Now, here's Shapes and Auto Backup. These are 2 you never, ever should change, rename, do any of that to because it's a system file. These, however, the file folders underneath here, now I don't use these, and I might use templates some, but I don't use clients here just because, like I said, I use Dropbox. So if but I have my clients, you would have your clients in here under My Studio Designs. So we'll double click here, and I've added a couple folders, and I'll go into Debbie Green. And then down here, so before you hit save, this to me, I tell people, never hit save until you are very comfortable and you understand the filing tree. Think of it as a giant file cabinet, a virtual giant file cabinet. Libraries is your file cabinet. Then there's Documents. Then there's My Studio Designs. Then there's Clients. Then there's your name or the client name. So let's go. So that is filed correctly so far, but the name is wrong. So there's 2 things before you hit save. You need to make sure that you name it, and we will call this Cornice with wrought iron. So even though it's in my file, and I would put the room too. And then put green. Now you may be asking, okay, I see a lot of people just name it Master Bedroom. The problem with naming it Master Bedroom, that it's an option for this for this client, Debbie Green, Master Bedroom for Debbie Green, is the fact that how many if you did a search on master bedroom and you've done that for every single client you did work for a master bedroom, how many of those would pop up in the search? Too many. You don't want that. So make sure at the end, no matter what you name it, you wouldn't have had to put cornice with wrought iron. You could have just said master bedroom, but be sure and put the client's name at the end, then hit save. Okay, now notice our file name has changed up here. So I'm going to minimize this because we'll probably come back to Studio. So I'm going to minimize that. Whether you're in your PC, if it's Windows 7, Windows 8, no matter what, or Studio Online, click your File Explorer. Now that is not the same thing as Internet Explorer, totally different. This is your file library. So when you click it, this appears. Here's all your tree, here's your favorites, here's your libraries here. And this, I happen to be on a Mac, so I have set up for my Studio Online lots of redirects, and those are my redirects for that. So up here, it's going to search. If I wanted it to search my Dropbox, I would click here. Or if I wanted it to search libraries, I would click on libraries. It defaults to libraries. So when you come in, this means it's not going to search your computer. If you're on Studio Online, it is not going to search your entire computer like your PC or your Mac. It's going to only search inside your Studio Online account. So keep that in mind. And I'm going to put in wrought iron again. And notice how that came up right away, and if I clicked on it, it would open that document because you can see it's a studio file. So it would come right up to that. Now another thing that say that you had, let's go back to libraries, let's go back to documents, My Studio Designs. You can follow the path up here. That's what I recommend people do, is follow the path up here. Always pay attention to where you are, and I could instantly go back to libraries by clicking libraries. So I can just keep going, moving around there. Now say that let's go into this client folder. Let's say that Anna Davis, which she's not really a customer, but I just put her name in there. If Anna Davis, we were doing a large project for her, and I keep having to go to that folder, it would really be a good idea to save time to drag her folder, or just, it's a shortcut. It's not really the file, because I can come back here and remove it from the favorites. It doesn't remove her file folder, doesn't delete anything. It's just a favorite for a short time. And that's all it is. Like if you're working with your logo and trying to do some different things, you can make whatever folders you're working on, drag them over to favorites. And that, again, works on the PC, your regular PC, or Studio Online. Let's also, let me go back to, I want to show you one more thing in Documents or My Studio Design. In Auto Backups, let's talk about that for just a second. When you're doing, when you're working in Studio, every 5 minutes it's set to back up your files. So let's look in here, and you can see here's a backup, here's an auto save, here's different auto saves that it saved before I named it, and it called itself auto save. And here's another one. So there's different auto saves that happen every time you come in. So always come in here, and you can, if you have a lot of them, you can click Date Modified, and that will sort them according to a date. Or you can sort them according to type, which you wouldn't want to, because they're all going to be studio files. So make sure to, don't panic if all of a sudden you have, now this is another thing we'll bring up. Say that you're in Studio and you receive an error message, invalid argument message, or Studio not responding and it has to close. But your file, the last 5 minutes would be in your auto backup, so check there. But if you receive that error message, more than likely what has happened is you were moving too fast, or you decided, oh, I didn't want to do that, or just something happened that Studio couldn't process quick enough, and you receive that error message. But keep in mind, you can go to your auto backup and you'll be able to find whatever, at least you only lost 5 minutes. Now, naming the files, if you name your files in Studio, let's open Studio again. Let's go back to, if you name your files in Studio when you first open them, and then when you go to close, we've had a lot of people that save over their file accidentally. They certainly don't mean to. They will save another file, maybe a blank file, over the top of their real file. So sometimes you may have multiple windows open of Studio. I advise you to close those so that you don't keep a lot of different Studio windows open. Sometimes if Studio doesn't open fast enough, somebody may click again and there's 2 studios that are open. So I would keep one studio open. Now with Windows 8 because this server is on Windows 8 as well, Windows 8 has a preview, in which I love, that you can see whatever. Like if I go to Firefox, I have tabs open in Firefox, or if I go to Studio, I can see what's open in Studio. Be careful as you're naming a file. If it pops up and said, do you want to save this file? And it may be MM Studio 1. But if you've named it, you'll know that MM Studio 1 is a blank file. So keep in mind so you don't save over a file. Save it as soon as you open it, and that way that should prevent you from saving files that you didn't want. Now another thing that you could do, let's go down here, right click, and we'll show the desktop. That works. There's things that, to show the desktop quickly, this is always a quick feature or a way to get to your desktop. Right click on the taskbar and select Show the Desktop. So I'm back to the desktop. Now for Mac users, you could press F3 to access Mission Control, or F4 to access Applications. So PC people, if you want to get back to your desktop, it still keep all your windows open, but it just lets you move fast to another area of your computer. Now, another thing, say that you've trashed some things. If you've trashed some things, it could be in your trash. So don't forget to look in your recycle bin. Sometimes you've trashed a rendering maybe it's in there. But your search would probably find that too. So that would be another good way to keep to use that search. So don't forget to use your File Explorer. It's a great thing to use. Notice my desktop's very clean. I know a lot of you are going, what? Who has time to clean off all that stuff? And I know a lot of you don't take time to file, but I'm saying take time to file, because when you look at a bunch of clutter, it's kind of like looking at your office with a bunch of clutter. You see a bunch of clutter, it takes up space in your head, your rent space in your head. So we recommend, maybe you use it for today or a project. You're just filing a couple things on your desktop, but always take time to clean that off, file things, and you can open File Explorer, go to the file that you need. We'll go to Clients, and you could open, say that if I had a file here, if I'd have saved one, I could open this folder now you can look and see Libraries, Documents, My Studio Designs, Clients, Debbie Green. I could, if I had saved a rendering over here, or photos, or maybe some JPEGs, I could drag them all over here and get them off of my desktop just by opening File Explorer. So keep that in. It's easy to file things. It's drag and drop. Very easy to do that. I'm on a Mac, as I said, and this shows what memory I have left on my Mac. I think, let me see what it's called, memory something. It's an app I got from the App Store on the Mac. I have 16 gig of of memory on my Mac Mini. And 16 gig. Now, I rebooted just before I started this webinar. So PC and Mac people, rebooting every day will help you speed up your computer immensely. So definitely reboot your computer at least once a day, or minimum every other day. I'm sure you Mac people have heard, oh, Macs don't use as much resources and memory. Oh, yeah, they do too. They certainly do, especially if you're using a lot of programs. Now, when you're using Studio Online, it's not using a lot of your memory, but I have other programs open in the background, like I'm running this presentation in the background on my Mac, not inside Studio Online. I'm just showing you my screen in there. But when that gets down to, instead of gig, it gets down to meg, that means I can hardly, my mouse doesn't work properly. A lot of things start happening. So I recommend to keep your computer running fast, reboot daily. Say that you have a new computer and you're trying to reinstall it. And as you reinstall on your new computer, you get a message that says limited licenses. So when you get that message, you would want to go to, or you'd want to email us, because you can't fix that yourself. You know, maybe you've already went to Customer Hub and you've downloaded Studio and got your serial number and you thought, I'm doing everything they've told me. Yes, you are, but now limited licenses, that's something the staff has to do. So you can get on to live chat or email us. You don't even have to call. Just email us, and one of us will get that and get that done right away. We'll clear your licenses for you. There's absolutely no cost, and you always, if you've purchased Studio, you always get 2 licenses. So now, if you're Studio Online, that doesn't apply to you because you are in. You don't have licenses. You can only have 1 user in at a time, but you don't have licenses. So I'm going to, while we're in the lounge, I'll go to let me see if there we go. We'll open up Customer Hub because I want to show you for Customer Hub. I always have to show this every single webinar. So when you go into My Account, here's your serial number for the desktop users. Now, Studio Online users, you will never need a serial number. And if you need to, but Studio Online users, you might want to make a payment or update your billing information, which would mean maybe credit cards. Here's your credit card. And here's where you download the latest version of Studio. Again, that does not apply to Studio Online users, only the people that own Studio. And look down here, there's lots of other things here too. And then, of course, Studio Libraries, where you can find a lot of webinars and videos. This is Collection 5 is this year's videos, and they're free this year. So last month, or in February, we went over how to use Earphone View. It was a webinar dedicated to Earphone View, and it showed you how to do a perspective on a rug. So this is saved inside your Customer Hub account. If you haven't viewed this or didn't get to join our webinar in February, you'll love this webinar. And you'll love the quick designing too. So check those out. They're free. You can't beat free. And let's go back to the forum. While we're in the forum, I wanted to, today, what we're talking about, the computer best practices. Well, first, let me go to this one first, and we'll come back to that one because that's going to take a little longer. We'll go to uninstall and reinstall Studio, and it's easy to search. If I needed to find that, and I could, and it's gone down, it's not right here. It happens to be here because Jennifer asked a question yesterday about that particular post. So let's do uninstall. If you happen to know that, and you could do a advanced search and search titles only if you want, I can do that, and say search. And then notice how that, and I haven't logged in. Let me log in. I have so many logins for the forum, I don't have it remember me, but you should check definitely remember me. So here's my search results for uninstall and reinstall Studio. Anytime you see blue, that means it's a hyperlink, so click on it. Thought I clicked, but I didn't. And here we are. So this is uninstalling, reinstalling, tells you to go to your customer hub. And inside here is we talk about Windows 8 too, because there's a particular thing that you need to do for Windows 8. So click on Photos. There's 4 in here, and this is for Windows 8 users. Anna did a screenshot for me, and you right-click on the studio icon and select Troubleshoot Compatibility. So a lot of you are starting to get Windows 8 new PCs that have Windows 8 on it, so that you can come to this post on the forum if you're installing and you have Windows 8, or just you need some help with general installation and or uninstalling and reinstalling Studio. Let's go back to, and if I want to go back to the main forum, now also notice that you can go to our shopping cart here, you can go to the website, you can go to the blog, you can go to a lot of different places right here from the forum. So now let's go into best practices for Mac and PC. I created this post this morning. I copied and pasted it from Evernote. I wanted you guys to have some notes from today, but I was going to give you a white paper, but I've decided it would be better. Anna and I both talked about it. We thought, hey, you guys need to visit our forum. So you can go here, and we'll just go over a couple of these things. We've been over a lot of them today, but go back here, because I promise if you start doing these things, you will feel like you've been to a yoga class, because you'll feel relaxed. It doesn't come overnight, but getting organized and being able to find files, being able to find the file fast and move fast, and passwords. Okay, how many of you, and I know I can't see you raising your hand, but how many of you forget passwords? And I know there's a lot of you going, yeah, that's happened to me. But I've written an article, I'm going to click on this. Any of these that are in blue are hyperlinked. So you can click on LastPass here. And this is going to take you to a blog post that I wrote about LastPass. So click on that. You can read about it then. You can click on videos for LastPass and go look at them. But LastPass is a password keeper, but it's so much more than a password keeper. It will, say that you're purchasing something on the internet, or you're needing to fill out a trade reference sheet. You know that they have a form on the web to fill. You can fill that. Let me just show you a little bit. I meant to practice this so you wouldn't see my credit card numbers. So this is LastPass. It's an app on your computer, and if I go to form fills, see I have a bunch of different ones. I've kind of helped my mom and my mother-in-law with their finances, so I have all these form fills. Like if I had a form fill for say I was buying something for my personal use, I would come in here, and I won't click on the credit card information, but you can see here there is my Social Security number. Okay, delete it for a minute. But I'll block that out in the recording. But here is my information. Here's contact information. I won't click on any of these others, but I put all of it in there. I've been using LastPass for, I don't know, maybe 5 years, and so it's a great. I will hit cancel, but I fill forms fast. You don't have to fill them out, and I use the same thing on my iPad and on my phone as well. So you can log in through LastPass, and it'll fill in things for you if you know you want to purchase something, because that's a pain on your phone, filling out all the credit card information. And when I log into LastPass on my phone, I have to every time type in, because there's a secondary password. It's very secure. You read about it. Huge millions of users use it. It is the biggest password keeper there is. All right, the next one that is really good is Xmarks. Xmarks, see this bookmark toolbar right here? That I synchronize across all my devices. I have it in my Studio Online account, which remember, that's where I am, but it's also on my Mac side. It's also on my Mac Air side. It's also on my iPad if I wanted it there, or I don't use it as much on my iPad and on my phone as I do my multiple computers that I have. So if you have a desktop and a laptop, Xmarks is fabulous about synchronizing your bookmark toolbar. Now, that brings me to another thing that I wanted to talk about is what internet browser. We recommend FireFox, Chrome, or Safari, just not Internet Explorer. But because we have more trouble with Internet Explorer blocking things or not doing something, because it's the most used on a PC, it's hacked a lot by hackers. But FireFox is the originator of the bookmark toolbar. Nobody does the bookmark toolbar better than FireFox. So it's free. Chrome or Safari, they have the bookmark toolbar, but no one does it like FireFox. So we definitely recommend FireFox. Dropbox is another, to me, for every business owner, is a must. And yes, I pay for Dropbox because I save all my files and photos in my Dropbox files. So I rarely use, whether I'm on my Mac or a PC, no matter where I am or in Studio Online, I'm saving to Dropbox. I'm not saving to documents because I want to have all my files synchronized. So and you can read about that. I wrote a blog post about that. So I have a blog post on Dropbox, Xmarks, and LastPass. You can read about those. Now, email, I just am dying to talk about this. I've kind of put it off for a while, but email, we recommend really only Gmail. And before you go, well, I've got Yahoo, I've got this, I've got that. The reason I recommend Gmail and only Gmail, it has so many features. Google is huge. It's bigger than all the rest. It also lets you do spreadsheets, aka they call them sheets, documents, presentations like Keynote or PowerPoint, and they're all free. I rarely need any other kind of spreadsheet except my Google Docs and the thing called Sheets inside my Google account. And the reason I like that is because it's always online. I don't ever have to worry about it. It doesn't take up any space either on my computer. Love that. They use their own space. If we create a Google sheet instead of downloading an Excel spreadsheet, but they can convert it too. All Excel spreadsheets can be converted to a Google sheet. So I pretty much just use Google. I love it. Now let's go in and look I'll go to my inbox. So this is my inbox. That's another thing. And you're thinking, good grief, you got us cleaning up everything. But in Gmail, there are multiple tabs. So you can see there's a primary tab, a social tab, a promotions, updates, and forums. Now, some of you that are using Gmail, which I know a lot of you already use Gmail, when you click on the plus, I have checked all of these. You probably don't have all of those checked. If you only have primary or promotion, maybe promotion, I think these two are automatically primary and promotions. You have to click on that check and check the other ones. So cancel. You can see what's new in here. So I'm just going to tour you around a little bit, but like say the social, say that I wanted Pinterest. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to train, because you can train Gmail. You can train it to make Pinterest always go in primary, but I don't want to. So I want to keep it in social. So you can see I have Facebook and Google here. And if I just click this, I don't want the Pinterest. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute too. So if I go into promotions, this has come in this morning since 8:30. Now I can scan over this pretty quickly and see I don't really need anything. I might like the consulting thing, but I'm going to go ahead and hits unread, highlights all of them, I just hit the delete button. I go through every single one of these tabs every single day. So Anna, I will keep hers since she's notifying me of a task I need to do. So I'll keep that. I won't delete it, Anna. Anyway, I don't do that anyway. But all my forums, I've trained those to make sure they come into forums. So any of these things that you want trained, that way you know pretty much after a while the primary things are coming in here. So these are my two tabs that I use the most, updates and primary. And pretty much all promotions go in here. And it seems sometimes you guys will be getting emails from us, and they may go in promotions, but it may be you've just signed up to do Studio Online, or you just purchased something. You may want that to be in updates. So keep that in mind too on Google. Now, another thing that you can do to help cut down on so much email, so many emails, which that's a problem for a lot of us, is we're busy, we own businesses, so we get double the emails of people that are not running a business. Like for instance, I went through, I'm always trying to glean and get just what I want. So I will take the time to go into my emails, and if I want to unsubscribe to something, if I'm getting too many emails from someone, or maybe I don't buy from that particular vendor anymore, or it's maybe I don't, I'll just visit their website. You can always unsubscribe now, visit their website later, and sign up again for emails. So don't worry about that, but you need to get your life a little bit so we get a grip, we get control of these vast amount of emails. Anna, why don't you come on? Do you have any other things before we open it up for questions? You guys be sure and jot down your questions or be ready to ask some questions, and we can do that in just a minute. Anna, go ahead.
Okay. I think you covered everything, Debbie, that we spoke about this morning. Were great. The only one thing that really is a question, but you also covered it, is Dropbox. And I know that we offer Dropbox to our online people, so you might talk about that a little bit. Just for the simple reason I had a question and they don't know how to get Dropbox online.
Okay. When you see this icon here, that means we've actually installed Dropbox in our Studio Online account, and you pay extra for that. It's like I think $60 a year. It's $5 a month, and because it takes extra storage, and we help make sure you do a selective sync. We help you set up where you have camera uploads. You would set up camera uploads. Dropbox allows that feature, which I really like, because then you can use your iPad on an appointment, take a picture, snap a picture, and it would be in camera uploads where you could get to it on your iPad when you're inside Studio Online. And that's one of the biggest reasons and for Dropbox. But it makes it easy. You could still copy and paste things to your Dropbox account, and especially with Mac users, you can set your redirects to go to Dropbox if you want, so you don't have to pay anything. That part, if you do it that way, it's free. So the other way is really the biggest thing would be that you would be able to take a picture on your iPad and be able to get to it inside your Studio Online account from your iPad. You can't do it. That doesn't work at all if you are just setting up redirects. Oh, I see we've got a lot of questions.
Yes, we do. I've answered a lot, but I still think we need to go over those same questions. I know one of the questions started out with Scott, and he was talking about whenever you are doing a cornice board, and I think your cornice board started this particular question. He was wanting to know about doing the bottom shapes on the cornices a little different and how to feel it. So what I was thinking he was talking about is like using that Bezier tool or the polygon tool or whatever different shape. he was trying to create.
And also, while I'm here, when you click on the Raspberry, you can see a list of recent files. Now, if you've moved a file, if you've saved over it, and you click on it and you thought you had it, it may be gone if you've saved over it accidentally. So, or if you've moved it. So keep that in mind. Okay, so if you're down here and you want to change a shape, yes, you would have to use one of the art tools up here, the drawing tools, the Bezier, the polygon, or, you know, the rectangle shape. And filling would be the same thing. Just right-click and fill, you know, properties fill. Or use your eyedropper tool. If you highlight just one of them, you could use your eyedropper tool to fill as well. The chat application, somebody was asking what is the chat application we use on our website. It's called Live2Support. So that is the name of the company that we use, Live2Support. Marie asked a question about organizing articles. I have Pocket, but I haven't been using it that much. I've been pretty much, and I do think that we need to settle on a few things so you don't use so many applications. I had tried, for instance, I was really toggling or trying to decide between Google Drive and Dropbox, and I still, now some people like Google Drive better. I use Dropbox. I've decided on Dropbox. I use Google Drive a little for some of the documents, but I don't use it as my big backup and my in the cloud, so it goes across all devices when I sign into the account. So I like Dropbox better than Google Drive, and I'm not using both just because of that little bit of extra work for me. If I tried to, where is it? Is it in Google Drive? Is it in Dropbox? I think we need to settle on one. So your question asking about organizing articles, I use Evernote, and I'm pretty much determined that you could create a folder inside of Evernote called articles, favorite, and maybe you have articles, and then underneath you have design, so that would be design articles or help articles. Well, not you wouldn't, yeah, articles, help. You could just do different ones under help. But I take the time when I'm in Evernote. I make sure I name it properly. I am not one to name it one word or two words. I make sure that I name things so that I can find them later. And then I also use tags. So I tag things in Evernote so that if I'm looking for something on health, if I click on the health tag, I see all my different screen captures or articles or whatever they are. I put them all in there. And how do I read blogs? I let them come to my inbox. I subscribe to them, the ones I want. I have several design blogs that I subscribe to and some health blogs. And I let them come to my inbox. I read them. They go into social usually, and I just let them, I read them there. And if I want to go see more, I click on the link and it'll take me straight to the blog post on their website. And let's see, is there instructions path to set up redirects on a Mac? Yes, in fact, we have a video. The question was from Joanne that she's asking, is there instructions of how to set up redirects? And she's talking about for Studio Online only, redirects on a Mac. Yes, there is, and it's Anna can send you that email on the Mac setup, and it's in there as well. So now part of it you've already done, so don't worry about going back through what you've already done, but the setups. And there's a video inside Customer Hub just about the Mac setup. So it's towards the end, because that's the last, after you get everything set up, that's the last part you do. If we have a HP computer, should we reboot daily? Definitely. I'm talking about any PC, any Mac. At minimum, every other day should you reboot. Just as you're getting coffee or something, reboot your computer. It brings all your resources right back up to the maximum. And resources, by resources, I'm really talking about your memory. And that memory is what allows your computer speed, how it handles that. That's a good idea. Kathy is saying best practice. I run a Word document to the side of my screen during a webinar to take notes. Great idea. And or if you had Evernote, you could do that same thing. So I probably would use Evernote, but I like that. That's a great idea to have a screen open, taking notes during a webinar. And that's one reason we put them in the forum, because whether you use Evernote or Word or wherever you put your documents, you could highlight the entire post on the forum of the best practices, copy and paste them into your preferred note-taking app or note-taking area. I think, what memory and power do you suggest for Minutes Matter? Now that is, let's go back. That's a great question. So what, if you're getting the new computer, what is the requirements? I'm glad they asked that, because that was something I should have covered. And let's go back to Minutes Matter, and I'm going to scroll all the way. Now I happen to be on the website. Let me go to the home just so you recognize it, because I'm on a blog post right now, but I'm actually on the Minutes Matter, minutesmatter.com website. Let me scroll down. I'm going to come all the way down here, and I'm going to put, let's see, computer. I'll just type in computer, or see if I'd have typed in new computer. And that best practices, let's see, new computer. I wrote a blog yesterday about this. So recommendation for new computer. So all you had to do, scroll to the bottom, and you typed in computer. And this is the recommendation. We talked about this, I think, in, I don't know, January. We talked about this a little bit in January. This is my desk with my dual monitors, my Mac Air, and my iPhone here. And then we talk about dual screens. You guys, monitors are so cheap. If you can set up a dual screen, you will love it. They say that you work 40% faster with a dual monitor. I believe it. It's really hard. When I'm away and I use my Mac Air, I don't care how big my screen was. Even the Mac Air is small. It's only a 13-inch screen. But having one screen and having to go back and forth, minimize and maximize, it takes longer. So I definitely like the dual monitor. So go to the blog, go to our website, type in computer all the way to the bottom down here. You search the site. So you can do that on any company's website too. So that's using search features, and remember the search feature in the file in File Explorer too. Don't forget about that search feature. So all these things that we talked about, if you will embrace some, maybe not all of them, but embrace some of them, I think that you will find that life will get easier. It might not at first, because it's a little overwhelming at first, but remember to embrace change. I love change. I love if I see a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, I got to go for that. I'm going to do what it takes to get that pot of gold. I like easier life, and I can tell with Google Apps, with Dropbox, with LastPass, with all those different Xmarks. When I buy a new computer, I just log into my Xmarks account. All these things appear right here automatically. I don't have to do a thing. It just, everything that I've done, it synchronizes, and I just log into my account, and it just pops right across. I love that. So anyway, any other questions, anybody?
Okay, Debbie, did you talk about our live chat today, where you can talk to us anytime you need help?
We can go there, and I can see it's right here. Right now it's offline, because we're afraid if we got on a chat that you guys, because we're on the webinar too. So right here in the bottom corner, there is our little live chat, and if it's online, you can talk to us live, and if it's offline, we get those messages too. So don't worry, if it's offline, just send us a message. We don't mind a bit. Now, our next webinar is not till September. We're taking the summer off, so the next, I saw a question about that. The next webinar is going to be about Let's Get Social. So we're going to be using Studio and not just Studio, but other things about getting social, whether it's on Pinterest, whether it's on Google Plus or Facebook. So not as much on Twitter. I'm not sure how many of us are on Twitter as much. I do it a little, but I'm mainly going to be talking about Facebook and Google Plus and Pinterest. So that is in September, and then we have one more Q&A, but I always do something a little different at the beginning of the Q&A, so we'll come up with that too. So that's in November. So we have 2 more webinars this year. All of them are going to be free. All of them are in your, will be in your Customer Hub account. Let me say one more thing before everybody leaves. I saw a lot of people maybe, you know, I said something about the Gmail email, about using Gmail. And there's a lot of Outlook, diehard Outlook people. Well, let me say this as gently as possible about to the Outlook users. I was a huge avid, and I got a lot of you on Outlook, using Outlook. I used it for, I don't know, 10 years or so. Loved it. The one thing I didn't like about Outlook was the fact that you know, if you got a new computer, it wasn't synchronized automatically. That was my biggest issue, was backing it up, you know, if you were to lose it, and that's locally installed on your computer. Now, I know they have Microsoft 360 now, which is a monthly subscription, but Gmail's free. Gmail does all that. I just log in, whether it's on my phone, and I know you get Outlook through all that too, but whether it's on my phone, my iPad, my Mac, or my PC, whatever it is, I can log into my Gmail account, and that's one more thing we'll make sure on your Studio Online. Make sure that you have set up your email account right inside your Studio Online account. Because we have automatically, we put 2 icons on there, they're default, Google, which would be Gmail, and Yahoo. So we put those 2 on there, but you can have GoDaddy, you can have Comcast, but we don't recommend you use a Comcast email, like if you have debbiegreen@comcast.net. Comcast could come and go for you. Gmail will always be there because it's not related to your internet provider. AT&T or Bell South, any of those, you shouldn't use those emails. And I know some of you are thinking, what is she talking about? That is a lot of work. Well, it is, but you can get some help to get that migrated. Oh, and really Gmail does it for you. It gives you instructions to do it. I had to do it when I moved all my accounts or my contacts from Outlook to Gmail, but I'm so glad I did. That was in 2010 that I did that. So it hadn't been that long ago for me, just about 5 years ago. Well, it was in May of 2010, so exactly 5 years ago. So, all right.
And Debbie, now they've got apps, Debbie, that export everything from Outlook into your Gmail. I know I had tons of emails saved, tons of things in my Outlook, and they have come quite a ways since they started, that you just export those in. It populates very nicely in your Gmail, so you really don't, it's really not that much work like it was.
It's not. It's not. It's not at all. So I definitely, and I'm a Google Apps, Minutes Matter is a Google Apps company. So I pay $50 per user per year for my account with Google Apps. I have quite a few users, but I have never, as far as I know, none of the people in Minutes Matter, like Anna, Jerry, me, Vicki, Casey, Owen, all of us, we've never been hacked, ever. So I don't know if it's different for Gmail. than it is the Google Apps. It's still Gmail, but you're under a little bit different of an umbrella, and you get free support that you can call people and talk to them, and they, oh my goodness, they go overboard trying to help you. So I'm a Google Apps person, and I'm not going to go back. I love it. I'm a huge, as you can tell, huge proponent of Gmail. And no, they don't pay me anything to say that. I'm just very passionate about what I love. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us. And if you have questions, post on our forum. We'll be glad to answer. I love talking about technology, as you can tell. We spent the whole webinar on it. Talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.